the Clippers acquire Rajon Rondo from Atlanta. Straight swap Rondo for Lou Williams. Lou Williams was somewhat of a surplus for the Clippers. They have two of the best scorers in the NBA, two 3-and-D players. Well, not 3-and-D. That's kind of insulting to Kawhi and PG. But they got two of the best scorers, PG and Kawhi. They have other players that could score. And now they looked at Lou Williams as a surplus. Rajon Rondo comes to the Clippers. If you guys don't remember, Rajon Rondo was rumored to be a target for the Clippers in the offseason. But Rajon Rondo wanted a 2-year contract, and the Clippers did not want to guarantee him that second year. So he ended up signing with Atlanta, getting that second year, getting that guaranteed money, getting that probably his last payout. And now the Clippers, they look at the roster. They know they need a playmaker. Everyone can see it. Everyone's talking about it since the offseason. Now we're past the halfway season. And they still need a playmaker. They looked at their roster. They're like, hey, we need a playmaker. They trade for Rondo. Rondo hasn't been playing the best with Atlanta. He's been injured. There's not a lot of minutes to go by there. But we all know what Rondo could do in the playoffs. He's shown it time and time again with the Celtics, with the Bulls, with the Pelicans. Last year with the Lakers. Playoff Rondo is definitely a thing. He turns it up in the playoffs. He goes back into his old Rondo. He's an extremely skilled passer of the ball. I think that's never going to go away. If Rondo could, all his talents could deteriorate. His shooting could get worse. His free throws could get worse. He could lose his athleticism. I think Rondo will always be a good playmaker. He's always going to be good for some assists. And that's what the Clippers needed. And they looked at Lou Williams and they saw him as a defensive liability, as a player that could get buckets, that could close out games for you. But you have two closers, theoretically, in PG-13 and Kawhi. I know they've gone cold. I know they got in their fair share of slack because of how they got eliminated from the playoffs last year. But now that puts more pressure on them, and I think they're up to the challenge. And Rondo is the playmaker that they need, and I'm excited. I'm a Laker fan. Everyone knows that I'm a Laker fan, so I'm obviously rooting for the Lakers to win. But I want a good matchup. I want the Clippers at their best. I want the Lakers at the best. If we were to see Clippers versus Lakers matchup in the playoffs, and I think Rondo does make the Clippers better. I think this definitely fills one of their needs. Everyone could see it. They need a playmaker. They need someone that could control the pace of the game, that could take the ball off PG and Kawhi. And now they have one. We'll see how good he plays with them. Even if he doesn't play that well in the regular season, I'm very confident to say that Rajon Rondo is going to turn it up in the playoffs. It's kind of sad to see him with the Clippers after he was a Laker, after he won a championship with the Lakers. But that's just the nature of the sport, of the business. There's really no loyalty. I mean, you do see loyalty in players, but once you become a journeyman, once you're just signing for teams, hey, you're getting paid, you're signing the contract, and the other team lets you go. So they let you go for a reason. You could sign with whoever you want. I know a lot of Clipper fans are sad to see Lou Williams. He was one of those players that helped maintain the Clippers in relevancy once they got rid of Chris Paul and Blake Griffin. He was the one that was like, hey, we're not going to be a tanking team. We're going to continue to fight and, try to make the playoffs and compete against the Warriors. He kept the Clippers as a prime destination. He's probably what made, Kawhi and PG look at the Clippers as still contending teams. Him and Beverly and other players really kept that Clippers, locker room, kept that Clipper mentality, make them, tough. But now he's gone. I feel bad for Lou Williams. He's a great player. It's one of the best six men all time. Might be the best six man ever. And he's never really had a chance to compete to win a championship. Last year looked like it was going to be the Clippers. I'm pretty sure he was excited running back with the Clippers. Now he goes to Atlanta. They're going to make the playoffs probably. It looks like they are this year. But they're not really a threat in the East. So how many years does Lou Williams have to get that ring? I don't know. But overall, decent trade for the Clippers. Lou Williams was somewhat of a surplus. And they get Rondo. And Rondo, like I said, he hasn't been the best version of himself this year. But they don't need the best version of him. They just need a great playmaker, and I think Rondo still has it. So we'll see how he does with the Clippers. You guys let me know if you think this was a good trade for the Clippers. Should they have gone after somebody else? Was this the only move that they could have made? They're kind of tied. They can't really do a lot of moves because of, the cap implications. But let me know if Rondo to the Clippers was a good trade, or if there was another move the Clippers could have made